It's time for another episode of Raising Courageous Leaders by Mr. Bonnke Shipalana. That's my dad.
Hi, my name is Bonnke Shipalana and welcome to The Power Within. Thank you so much for all the questions and input based on our last episode. If you want to send us a comment, please send your email to powerofone@bonnke.co.za. In our last episode, I talked about how the I am is dependent on the source and not the resource. Most of you asked me to unpack that, and the title of this episode is The Source. For those who are employed, we all get paid. And for most of us, the days of the envelope, the days of cash are gone. We get our money through EFTs. Money is sent from our company straight into our banks. To be honest, I have never ever in my entire life seen a person stand in front of an ATM worshipping it. Never seen a person clap hands when they drive past a billboard of their bank. Seen a person at home dancing when they see an advert from their bank. Why? Because they understand that even though they're accessing their funds, their salaries, through an ATM of a particular bank, that bank is not the source. That bank is actually a resource. It's actually a channel to transfer funds from work to their own pocket. So we can accept that the ATM that you actually access your hard work earnings, your wealth, your cash, your salary is not a source, but it's actually a resource. So how do you know if something is a resource or a source? Let's first try and get a definition of a resource. To me, a resource is any channel or system that I only get something back after I have deposited or placed something in. A resource is a channel or a system that I can only get something back after I have deposited or done something towards it. Am I saying a job is a resource? Yes, I am. Am I saying your boss is a resource? Yes, I am. Am I saying government is a resource? Yes, I am. Am I saying that the economy is a resource? Definitely. That's what I am saying. Think about it. If you don't go to work for a month or two, will you get paid? If you don't do what your boss or your KPIs ask you to do, will you get paid? And this economy, if you do well and don't pay your taxes, will the government be pleased with you? No, you might end up going to jail. So anything that forces you to do something in order to get something back, that is a resource. The biggest mistake that you can make is to take a resource and make it your source. Is to place your entire life, your entire purpose of being on earth, onto something that requires you to put something in. If you do that, if you take your resource and make it your source, you'll be similar to the Israelites who made Egypt their source, who made Pharaoh their source, to a point where they thought they can't survive without Pharaoh. They can't survive without Egypt. But the sad thing of making your resource your source, it simply means that for the rest of your life, you'll be dependent on its approval, on it liking you. And anytime the resource does not get the benefit of you being in it, it's gonna kick you out. Maybe the question that you're asking yourself now is, Bonnke, what is a source? A source means where something originates. It means the beginning. For me, that source is Jesus Christ. My source is not my job. My source is not the government. Those are resources. But I always look up to Jesus Christ as my source. Isaiah 43 verse 19 reads as follows. Be alert. Be present. I'm about to do something brand new. It's busting out. Don't you see it? There it is. I'm making a road through the desert, rivers in the badlands. What this verse is saying that where your resources fail, Christ will pass. Where your resources struggle, Christ will succeed. Why? Because He created all these resources to serve you. But for most of us, we've made a mistake of taking those resources and made them our source. To a point when we are going through difficult challenges, we look up to our resources to be our Savior. But there's only one Savior. That is Jesus Christ. If you read your Bible back to the source, back to the beginning, back to Genesis, you read the following. God asked the earth to produce all kinds of plants and animals. God said to the water to be filled with living beings, that's fish. I mean, whatever God asked was the source to produce the resource. Earth produced plants and animals. Water, the source, produced living beings or fish. The amazing thing is that the plants and the animals can't survive without earth. That is the source. The fish can't survive without water. That is the source. If you read further down, when God wanted to create me and you, He spoke to Himself. If fish can't survive without water, the source, animals and plants can't survive without land or earth, how do we think us, human beings, can survive without the source? God, who created us in His own image. In this difficult time, I want to encourage you to focus on the source and not the resource. The source will always guide the correct resources to you. Never assume that because you have access to the resource, that is your source. Pharaoh, Egypt, the system is never a source. We only have one source. That is Christ, our Savior. This was another episode of The Power Within, where we raise courageous leaders.
Raising courageous leaders. Thank you, Dad. You better subscribe to the Power Within TV channel. Do it now.